Hey, time travelers. A lot of people ask me to tell them how I cook food for the holidays because, I make great food whenever they try it. And I thought this year I would record all of that early. I did it the weekend before Thanksgiving and try to make a video. Well, here's that video. Sorry I didn't have it up early, but I'm getting it out there anyway. But you know how it gets during the holidays. You get busy and you get tired. And that's what happened. I'm also linking Google Docs down in the description. So if you want to read along as I cook or whatever, you can. For anyone new to the channel, I usually do sci-fi stuff and tech stuff. Just FYI. The food stuff is just occasional, Now into the video. Every year for Thanksgiving, I do a 3-day process for cooking all the food, keto style, and all homemade. On the first day, I start making the stew, and I make the cranberry sauce. Let's start with the stew. I get a 9x13 baking pan and chop up a tomato and put that in. For some reason, I felt like doing 2 tomatoes this year. I don't know why. Then get your personal protective equipment, i.e. mad scientist goggles or your equivalent, because onions. I like to chop up half of a yellow onion and throw that in the pan. Then I do a red onion. This is really optional. I find that the red one reduces the onion flavor for what happens next. Dun dun dun. What happens next is scary and nasty and you should prepare yourself. I like to protect myself with my quarantine mask because the white onion is the death stink onion in your eyes, onion of death. You'll also want to ventilate the area. A tiny fan pointing out the window helps a lot. So about the white onion, you only need half of that, or less, whatever amount you want, or none at all, because it stings your eyes and burns your throat while you cut it up. Then you want to chop up 2 stalks of celery. For some reason, I decided to do 4. That's gonna bite me in the booty later. It should be safe to take your face protector rings off now. And do a hard blink to get the onion juice out. Don't rub it in or you'll make it worse. Then you take the stuff out of the turkey. Start with a drippings bag if you have one. Wash it off so you don't spread germs. Move your turkey to a baking pan. Now put whatever parts of the turkey you want to marinate into the stew. This does not necessarily mean those parts will be in the stew. You put in whatever you want. The neck, heart, gizzard. You can even put in the wings. I did that one. Whatever. Then cover the turkey and stick it in the fridge. And this is when I realized to put too much vegetables in the pan. So if you don't have room, take some stuff out and put it in a container. Then chop up about a cup of mushrooms and put them in. Cover the remaining mushrooms and put them in the fridge for later. Now I usually would use a half a bottle of white wine for the next part, but this year, 2020, for anyone watching in the future, just FYI, whatever, I'm trying some apple cider vinegar. I poured a couple cups of that and then topped the rest off with water. Covered it and put it in the fridge. If you're doing the wine method, you use half a bottle of wine and then fill up the rest with water. It's whatever you want. Now here's a scene from the future! Because I derped, because I forgot the garlic. Add 1 clove of garlic, or the equivalent, which is a half teaspoon of minced garlic. And now, onto the cranberry sauce. You start with a regular 12-ounce bag of cranberries. You put them in a saucepan with 1 cup of water. I really like this stuff, so there's 2 bags in the pan and 2 cups of water. Then you add the erythritol, that's the sweetener I use, and stir it in until it's completely dissolved. Then to cancel the erythritol's cooling effect, I add a teaspoon of liquid stevia. That's a half a teaspoon if you were just doing the 1 bag of cranberries. Bring the cranberries to a boil, then reduce the heat and simmer it partially covered. Wait until all the berries have burst, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes. This is a good time to taste test it for sweetness and add more sweetener if you need to. Just remember to give the added sweetener a chance to dissolve while you stir it. Then you get another saucepan and put a sieve over it. Pour the cranberries into the sieve and let that stand in there till all the juices drain through, which takes about 30 minutes. Honestly, I just set a timer and go relax somewhere. Then you use a silicone spatula to push the juice out of the solids through the sieve. This takes a while, but it's totally worth it. Then in a bowl, stir the half teaspoon of gelatin with a 1/4 cup of water. Let stand for 1 minute to soften. It's the science that makes Jell-O, believe it or not. Don't believe me? Pfft, whatever. Let that sit while you do the next thing. Bring the cranberry sauce to a simmer and add the gelatin mixture. Stir it in until it's completely dissolved. Spray your container, or containers in my case, with coconut spray. I got 3 just in case, but whatever, I only needed 2, you'll see. Pour the cranberry sauce into the container and chill it covered for at least 12 hours. I just do it overnight so I can forget about it until tomorrow when I actually want to eat it with my turkey. Welcome to day 2, Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, or Christmas Day if you're making turkey for Christmas. This is the main day. Most people do all their cooking on the main day. I've got a 3-day process, whatever. You start with preheating the oven 425 degrees. And depending on how long it takes to make the size of turkey you're making, you want to plan ahead of time. In my case, I usually make a 14-pound turkey, so that's about 4 hours. Then you put the turkey in on the bottom rack. This is important because you will need the top rack later. Keep the turkey in the oven at this temperature for 40 minutes. Hey, check it out. This is what the jellied cranberry sauce looks like on the second day. It's just like Jell-O. Now you want to get about 2 cups of butter. Use whatever kind is your favorite. I usually use 1 small container of Smart Balance, but the store only had that size in the olive oil. You don't want to put olive oil in the oven because it will smoke. So I got the big container. After 40 minutes, you're going to want to turn the oven down to 325 degrees and go start working on the next thing. Now, do the unimaginable. This trick will make turkey super juicy and buttery. Trust me, some people call this blasphemy, but stab the turkey all over the place. Then use a spatula to spread the butter all over it. Now it's time to start on the stuffing. Line a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Don't use wax paper for this, it may burn in the oven. Set the cookie sheet aside and get the flaxseed. Put 2 cups of flaxseed in a large mixing bowl. Then 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Then 1 tablespoon of Italian herbs. You know, the kind that has all the things. Don't be shy, we need a whole tablespoon. Then get your favorite salt. This is pink salt. We need 1 teaspoon. Now give the ingredients a good mix. For the next part, you can use a separate bowl to beat the eggs, but I don't find it necessary. You get 5 eggs, put them in, then ½ cup of water and 1/3 cup of olive oil. If you're doing a separate bowl, or even the same one, just go ahead and mix it with the whisk attachment. The easiest way is with the whisk attachment, because it'll add volume. If you're doing a separate bowl, you can fold them together after you mix it. That beeping you heard was a 20-minute timer, so go baste the turkey. I still have butter left from the 2 cups I set aside earlier, so spread it on. Now you want to pour out your stuffing batter onto the cookie sheet. It may be pretty runny, but don't worry about it. Get it all out of the bowl and spread it evenly with the spatula. Turn the oven up to 350 degrees and put your stuffing bread mix on the top shelf and wait for 20 minutes. We're going to saute some vegetables for the stuffing, so get 4 tablespoons of butter and put it in a pan. Sorry about the lack of focus, but you need the equivalent of about 1 onion. Now you see why I buy 3 onions for the Turkey Day grocery trip. You can use whatever kind of onion you like, but I'm going to do a mix of all 3, red, yellow, and the super pungent white. Ugh. Now you want to chop up a cup of white or button mushrooms. They don't have to be super fine, roughly chopped is fine. Cover the rest of the mushrooms and save them for later. Now you want to thinly slice up about 2 stalks of celery and put that in. Now put this on a medium heat and stir until all the veggies and mushrooms are covered in butter. Saute the vegetables, and after a couple of minutes around this time is when the 20-minute timer goes off. Use a baster and a ton of butter from the pan and baste it all over the turkey. Be sure to do both sides. We don't want it to dry out. Also at this time, you need to take the stuffing out. It's actually called focaccia bread. Say it with me. Focaccia bread. And at this time, you want to subscribe to the channel. The button's right there. It's right there. Click subscribe. Click the bell. You can lightly tap the stuffing to verify that it's ready. If it's spongy and soft, it needs a few more minutes. Now you want to get 1 egg and put that in a mixing bowl. Then grab some chicken broth. Add about ½ cup of broth to the bowl Now whisk that until it's good and mixed. Set the egg and broth mix aside and get your cutting board ready. Start with some fresh parsley. Chop up about a 1/4 cup of that, or however much you like. Check on the veggies. Give them a quick stir. If they're starting to golden, turn the heat down to low. Next is the rosemary. You only need about 2 teaspoons of rosemary. Chop it up and make sure to remove the middle parts, keeping the leaves. Add that to the bowl with the parsley. Next is the sage. Finally, chop up about 1 tablespoon as best as you can and add that to the bowl. Now you want the thyme, the vegetable kind. That's what Charlie calls it. Click on this card of a video where Charlie and I acted like robots, and that's the first time he said, "Thyme, the vegetable kind." It's pretty funny. I find it easiest to just scrape the thyme with a serrated knife to get the leaves off. You need about 2 teaspoons of thyme. Now, expertly dump your herbs mix into the veggies pan. Then stir all that together so the herbs are everywhere. By now, your focaccia bread has cooled down. Get a pizza cutter and cut in lines one way. Then the other way, making squares. Well, little square-ishes. Now break it up. Put that all in the egg chicken broth mixture, then stir it. I find that this step is easiest with gloves instead of a spoon. I just lift and drop, lift and drop. Then get your 9x13 baking sheet and coat it with coconut oil. Get your vegetables pan and put that in the focaccia bread. Now you want to stir that all up so it's evenly mixed. And pour that into your baking pan. Spread it out so it's distributed. Get some aluminum foil and cover the stuffing. Make sure to pinch down all of the sides. And put the stuffing in the top shelf of the oven and bake it for 40 minutes. That's about 2 turkey basting sessions. Speaking of, guess what? It's about that time again. Baste that turkey again. Yes, again. It will totally be worth it. And now, oops, that's upside down. Use turkey drippings bag that comes with the turkey or 1 cup of chicken stock and put that in a saucepan. This step is optional, but you can get a gravy mix packet and add that. I like it because reasons. It has a good flavor, so yeah. Mix that all up. And I'm adding the extra vegetables I had from the day 1 stew pan. At this point, I suggest that you get a helper to assist with some dishes. Here's Charlie, aka Elemental Plays. He has a gaming channel. Card above if you're interested in checking it out. Now you can add more chopped up herbs if you want. I didn't film chopping them because you get the point. Stir all that up. And the next ingredient is sour cream. You only need 2 tablespoons, but you can add more if you want. And stir all that up. Since there are vegetables, I want to simmer this on low for a while. So I add about 1/2 cup of water and stir that in. Now it's time to build the mashed cauliflower. Yeah, look at it. More tasty than mashed potatoes and way less carbs. And yes, I said build. It's pretty simple. You rip the green bits off and then finally chop up all the white bits and put that in a medium saucepan. At about this time, another basting is due. This year, I had Charlie help with the basting a little. Now add about 1/2 cup of water to the saucepan with the cauliflower. Here's the trick. Move the gravy to another burner because you need a hot burner for the cauliflower and there's no rush on the gravy. Then turn the cauliflower to high and the gravy to medium. Stir that gravy. Charlie talks about random things while I stir the cauliflower. What you want to do is bring it to a low boil and cover it for 10 minutes. If the water boils away and the cauliflower isn't soft and fluffy yet, add more water. When it's done, it should look like this, all soft and fluffy. Now remove it from heat and let it start to cool down a little. Guess what? That was another 20 minutes. Time to do something again. Oh yeah, baste the turkey. It's also time to uncover the stuffing. I apologize for blocking the view. I'm just taking the aluminum foil off and putting it back in the oven for about 30 minutes, but I'll probably check it in 20. Now put your cauliflower into a blender. Add 1 tablespoon of butter, and then add 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. Optionally, you can also add 2 tablespoons of sour cream, but I forgot this year. Fight me. Now you can add some salt and pepper. Blend it up. Push the bits down. Blend it up. Push the bits down. Taste test it. Add more salt and pepper to taste. Blend it up one last time, and it's done. And honestly, I just leave it in the blender, and then I serve it out of the blender. Whatever. Now we're gonna thicken the gravy. Start with some butter. You'll need about 2 tablespoons. When the butter is about melted, grab some almond flour. We're gonna make a roux. Never heard of that word before? It's French. Deal with it. Roux. Roux. Add about 4 tablespoons of almond flour, which is about 1/4 cup of that in there. Stir that up really good so the butter combines with the almond flour, and then add your heavy cream. It's about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Now stir that all together and get it all combined. Now dump that roux into the gravy. This is gonna make it thick. Stir all that together until it is an even consistency. Now check your stuffing and stir it around so it doesn't get too crusty on top and soft on the bottom. And go in for another round of basting. Both sides! Both sides! On this round of basting, it should be done. So check the thermometer. The internal temperature should be 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Yep, good to go. Everything should be done now. I had to set the oven to broil to make the top of the stuffing crispy. My smoke detector is super sensitive. Carve your turkey and prepare for a feast. My mouth is watering right now just looking at these delicious dishes during editing. Now it's the 3rd day. Don't worry, this is super easy. It's actually the easiest day of cooking out of all of them. You start by putting all the stew stuff into a stock pot. Whatever is in it, because you may or may not have cooked up the neck and stuff yesterday, or maybe you don't eat that stuff, whatever, it's up to you. But just throw it all in there. While you wait for it to come to a simmer, chop up your remaining vegetables. Then add them in. That's another tomato and 2 more stalks of celery. The rest of the onions. And the rest of the mushrooms roughly chopped. And any other vegetables you may have left over from Thanksgiving. Add 1 clove of garlic, chopped, or the equivalent, which is a ½ teaspoon of minced garlic. And stir that up. You're going to want to put that on low. And cover it for about 4 hours. After the 4 hours, you're going to want to make another roux. Roux. Sounds so funny saying it. Roux. The roux is going to make your stew nice and thick, so put it in. Turn the heat up a little, about medium-low, and cover it. Cook it for up to 2 hours, checking on it and stirring it every 30 minutes. It's optional, but I highly recommend that you actually put in the random shreddings off of the turkey at this time. It will add lots of volume to the stew. Now put a lid on, go away, and come back every 30 minutes to stir it. And this is what mine looked like after 2 hours. Remove from heat, put the lid back on, and let it cool down. Then you can put it in containers, or just put the whole stock pot in the fridge where the turkey was the night before. Because I'm lazy. Well, not lazy. I slaved for 3 days. What do you expect me to do? I mean, I slaved over the oven for 3 days. You want me to take it out? And that's it. That's my Thanksgiving 3 days labor extravaganza routine from the past few years thing. So if you're new to the channel, I do tech videos and sci-fi videos, and I make my own background music. I made a new background music song during Thanksgiving break, and you can click a card right up here if you just want to listen to the sound directly on my other channel. Otherwise, thanks for watching. You can check out my most recent sci-fi video over here, and you can check out my most recent video I shot with my son over here. You can @ me down here, or subscribe to my channel over here, or check out my son's channel right there. Thanks for watching this video. I'll be seeing you later, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments. Bye.